I'm here to give you an overview of the live events and technical production industry in West Africa, using Ghana as a case study. My company is called Charterhouse. We are the biggest events management and audiovisual production house in Ghana. We are a one-stop house, which means that we own most of the logistics that we need to do our events, and we also do the management of the events in-house. We had to get into equipment owning and logistics because at the time we started, we really couldn't find the supplies we needed. So we had to invest in all the large stage technical setups and all of that, and also manage events as well. I mean, we would have loved to have just stayed with event management, but we had to go into technical production because it didn't exist at the time we started. So we organize both large, medium, and small events anywhere in Ghana and West Africa. For those of you who are not too familiar with West Africa, this is where we are. We operate in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Cape Verde, and Liberia. And as you can see, it's Anglophone West Africa. And we are totally surrounded by Francophone West Africa and all of that. Unfortunately, our educational system didn't allow us to learn French at a very early age, which was very short-sighted. And so very few of us are bilingual. So we haven't been able to really touch West Africa as much as we would have wanted to, because we have a language barrier between the Anglophones and the Francophones. So as you can see, we are limited to the Anglophone countries, and it's been quite a challenge for us, but we found a new way around it. And we decided to work with a franchising model, which will allow us to work with Francophone countries through our Charterhouse franchise without having to physically be there. So I think that's something that we're going to explore moving forward. Charterhouse is part of a group of companies called the Multiple Concepts Group, and it started as an advertising company and evolved into an audiovisual and production unit, and then evolved into an events and production company, and now we're also into mobile content and digital media. It's already given you the background to who I am, but let's just say that I'm passionate about the creative arts, the youth, and women. Where are the women? Where are the women? Gosh, I just saw all the men sitting here, and men after men after men, and I'm like, where are the women? Come on. We have a space in the live events and technical production industry in Africa. Let's rise up. My heart went out to the young lady who was here yesterday, the DJ, who was bemoaning the fact that she was always being challenged for being a woman in a seemingly men's space. And I say, go girl, let's see more of you out there. Yeah, I see you, you're there. Yeah. So that's basically who I am. Our vision is to be one of the best events management and production companies in West Africa, Africa, and the world at large. So whatever we do, we look at Africa, and then we look at the world and try to match our standards to whatever is going on in the world, even though we don't have the kind of budgets that you have here in South Africa, and of course the world does. The world has. So in our company, we have two clear departments. We have the public events section and the corporate events. For the public events, we create events for the leisure of Ghanaians, basically. So through that, we've been able to establish some annual huge calendar events for the year. We have the Ghana Music Awards Festival, which you mentioned in my profile. That has been running for 19 years. And next year is our 20th anniversary. Whoop, whoop. And we are really excited about that. And we also established the first commercial comedy series some years back, and we've run it for about 11 years. We run it twice a year. It's called the Night of 1,000 Laughs and Music. We used to bring in comedians from Nigeria because they had a huge comedy industry, and Ghana's was just getting established. But I'm happy to say that we've been able to, through this event, develop the comedy industry in Ghana to be able to hold its own events as well. So we believe that what we do is not just to create entertainment, but to also provide opportunities and create opportunities in the entertainment industry and make it more attractive and viable. We also run the Miss Malaika beauty pageant, and that's run as a form of a TV show as well. So we double in TV productions and events as well, and that's also been running for about 15 years. For corporate events, we do small, medium, or large scale. We have customized events where clients request us to come up with unique and bespoke event concepts specifically for them. So basically, our services are large scale events, medium scale, and small scale. So every type of event space, we are there. You know, I know most of the people here seem to be doing the big events. You know, but we do the big events, we do the medium events, we do the small ones. You know, we hustle. So for the outdoor events, we have the large events, we do the outdoor concerts and the large brand activations. And then for the medium scale events, we do banquets, awards nights, viewing centers, launches, concerts, exhibitions, conferences, everything, we do it. And then we go to the small ones. We do the road shows, the market activations, we have street activations, mall activations, sampling, draws, we do staff parties for companies, we do retreats and away days, we do seminars and workshops, etc. So we double in 360 events, touch points. And we work for companies like Coca-Cola, Airtel. I'm sure some of them are familiar to you here. And these are really the big spenders in the event space. Unfortunately for us in Ghana, we don't have, there's absolutely no support from the government towards our industry, nothing, absolutely nothing in terms of financial support for activities or skills training or development, nothing. Everything is private-led and corporate supported, so to speak. So we really rely on the corporates' dollars to run the industry. And these are the companies that either commission us to work on projects for them, or we seek sponsorship from for the events that we want to organize. So this is just a brief overview of the events landscape in Ghana. As I've already mentioned to you, mostly corporate-led. So I'll just run quickly, because I think I have just about 15 minutes or so. You know? So I'll just run quickly through some of the events we do and some of the new trends that are showing up, because what we do is basically a reflection of the events industry in Ghana generally. So there are lots of event companies also doing a lot of marvelous stuff across the country. So as I mentioned to you, we do game shows. We do TV programs, and we focus mainly on game shows and lifestyle shows. And what we try to do is because we have a live event, a bent towards a live event, even though we are doing TV productions, we always infuse a live event aspect. So you would see us with some episodes in the studio, and some episodes on the campuses, in the towns, in the festivals. Because in Ghana we have, I don't know whether you have that here, but in Ghana every tribe has a festival, a cultural festival that they celebrate, and it's a big deal wherever they are. So what we do is that we plug into these big cultural festivals and take our TV programs and event experiences there as well. So we have game shows like It Takes Two, AGORO, and etc. And whenever these festivals are happening, they come to us and say, can you bring your show to us live? And we say, yeah, why not? So we then move on location, set up a huge stage, light, sound, action, and then we do the shows live. So we do game shows, we do beauty pageants, as I've already mentioned, and then we also run the biggest music talent hunt in Ghana called Stars of the Future. And this platform has actually succeeded in discovering and establishing most of the top young artists in Ghana, especially the females. Whoop, whoop. Most of the female artists in Ghana, I mean, if you Google, are proteges of this talent show that we run. And we're really happy to have been able to contribute to the industry at that level. We also do a talent show for hip-hop. Where's the hip-hop promoter? Who? Yeah, we do a hip-hop show called The Next Big Thing in Hip-Hop. And through that, again, we've been able to unearth a lot of hip-hop talents, which are the new generation in hip-hop music in Ghana. And of course, we have our public entertainment events, as we mentioned earlier. This is the Ghana Music Awards festival, which we did this last year. There's a few snapshots of the images. And these are just some quick pictures of some of the things we do. And some of the corporate events we do are really very, very elaborate. And of course, football season is coming up. So I'm sure you're all gearing up for, does South Africa qualify? No? Ghana too didn't qualify, so we're in the same boat. But we will still be part of the fever, so we will be mounting up viewing centers. I'm sure you'll be doing that as well. And that's what we normally do. And we do street viewing. We just go to the streets, we block the streets, and we put up our screens, and we just have a ball watching football. So we're doing that as well. And then we also create VIP experiences. So this is something we did for Heineken a couple of years ago. These are just images of some of the events that we do. So as you can see, it's just a wide range of events. So basically, what I've done is given you an overview of the kinds of events that are happening back home in Ghana and in West Africa generally, and the role we play in those. Now, we realized that there are new trends, developing in our industry, and we were quite surprised, at the turn of things, because we were used to certain kinds of events, and then all of a sudden, we started getting requests for technical support for, guess what? Parties, private parties and weddings. And we're like, whoa, who spends that amount of money on weddings and parties? But if you know West African culture, they're very lavish, and they spend a lot of money. Can you imagine spending about $250,000 to, $300,000 on a party, a private party and a wedding? And these have become huge technical productions, and we're like, whoa, where's the industry getting to? So now we offer technical support for weddings and parties. I don't know if you do that here. Is that a trend here? Yeah, for weddings and parties, huge budgets. Wow, who would have thought that some years ago? We used to do weddings in our yards at home, and parties. So I just wanted to play a video to show you just a sum up of what I've been talking about and the kinds of new events that are coming up on the scene. This party was like a whole production. It had comedy, it had music, it had everything going on, including fireworks to crown it all. So it was a huge, huge production, so to speak. And it actually involved us basically transforming an empty shell of a building. So we needed to work with carpenters, drapery designers, etc. Everybody, all skills on board to make this event happen. It was actually a total transformation of a shell, like a warehouse, so to speak. Now this is the wedding of, I'm sure you probably saw, the wedding of Dangote's daughter in Nigeria. It was a huge, huge production, and we thought we should capture that also as part of the trends that are developing in the industry. So basically, that's the general overview of what's happening in the event space, up there in West Africa, and I'm sure there are similarities here as well. Now, let's go to challenges. I've been sitting here listening to most of you speak, and I can pick some of the challenges that you are enumerating. I would say that we're also going through a lot of challenges, and I know that you guys are way, way, way ahead of us, like you are big brothers in the industry. But we have huge challenges. We have lack of formal skills training. We have no institution training anybody in the event space. The few institutions that claim they do are basically just teaching people on soft skills, soft event management skills, but definitely not technical skills. So how we've survived is people have just learned on the job, really. And so you can imagine, people have just been trained and learned on the job. And that's how we've survived. And occasionally, like I said, when we have huge productions that require a higher level of expertise, we reach out to Verde, and he sends us some lighting engineers. So for an event like the Ghana Music Awards, we definitely, have for the past 10 years, worked with lighting designers and engineers from South Africa, as well as audio-visual technicians as well. So we fly them in, they stay with us, work for us, that's for the period, and they go back. So that's how we've survived, basically. But then we definitely need to work on that. We also have a lack of appropriate venues. I mean, you guys are blessed. You guys have venues, so many types and shapes and sizes. We don't. We are really, really limited. So when it comes to music promotion, in terms of what the promoters are discussing here, it's a big challenge for us. If it's not sponsor-led, where they don't, where they are looking at just promoting the brand, maybe launching a new product or something, I mean, we just can't do shows as promoters because we don't have the venues that can give you the returns that you need from the gates. So we really rely a lot on sponsorship to make this event happen. And we have been lobbying government to work on venues and also to bring together investors to see how we can put together some venues for the industry. But what we are left with, what we actually work with are hotel venues, which have a maximum of about 400, 500 capacity. Can you imagine? I mean, that's all we have in terms of indoor capacity venues. And then for the theater-style events, we have the conference center, which takes a maximum of about 2,000. And that's where we hold the Ghana Music Awards. And that's the biggest show-based event in Ghana. And the rest of them are the stadiums. But Ghanaians have not developed the culture of paying to attend shows in the stadium. They would climb the walls, they would stand outside and dance to the music. They just will not pay the money to enter. It's a big challenge, and we are finding ways, trying to figure out how to crack that. So unless a sponsor says, hey, bring me AKON and do a show and pays us to do it, it's very difficult for us to just say we are bringing an artist and going to the gates. It's very difficult. So we have huge venues challenges. And then we have too many small-scale suppliers hindering our growth and innovation. We believe that we need to come together and probably instead of having 20 people all providing, low-level sound or mid-level sound, why don't we come together and have maybe 5 major suppliers who can then invest in innovation? So we have too many small suppliers, and we need to work on that. So we've been stuck at the same level for a long time. And then we have, obviously, as I've mentioned before, absolutely no governmental support in this area. In fact, we have been talking and engaging with the Minister for Culture and Art and Creative Arts to appreciate value as an industry and begin to make provision for us in government budgets. But we haven't made much headway. It's still a work in progress. Of course, our industry is male-dominated. I mean, we have very few females in the technical production field. We have a lot more females in TV production, but not in live events. I mean, we don't have females in lighting and in audiovisual and all of that. We just don't have females. I don't know if you have here in South Africa. I mean, do you have female lighting engineers? And you do? Wow, good for you. We don't have, absolutely male-dominated. And then for me, that's a no-no. We've got to break that. And then, of course, we have no general standards of operation in the industry, especially in health and safety. It's becoming a big issue because there's nothing, there's no regulation, nothing guiding the industry. So everybody does what they feel, what they want to do, and you only get pressured to pay attention to that when the event is for a multinational brand who has their own internal health and safety processes that you need to adhere to. And we've come under a lot of pressure from Vodafone, who is our title sponsor for the Ghana Music Awards. In fact, just before I came, we came out of a long meeting where they were showing us all the pictures and videos taken on location of all the things we're doing wrong on location. And I was just sitting there and saying to myself, wow, we've got a lot of work to do in this industry because, I mean, for us, I mean, if I call a supplier, they're not coming with any safety gear. So what it's gotten to is the fact that we have to actually buy the safety gear and give to the, the suppliers to wear. I mean, so we call it as a sound company, a lighting company, and we have to provide them with the safety gear to wear. We have to train them to use the safety gear, and they will bring it today, they will not bring it tomorrow. It's just crazy. There's absolutely no health and safety standards at all. So this is where we are, and what's the future? Training institutions are definitely part of the future. And of course, as part of that, we need to encourage female participation. We are looking at setting up an institute for the creative arts, and not just for Ghana, but for West Africa and Africa at large, but really focusing on West Africa. We want to work on certifications and standardizations of the industry. We want to collaborate with agencies like SARA. I mean, we really need to work with SARA because they're doing a really great job here, and very soon I'm sure we'll be announcing some partnerships to replicate what he's doing in South Africa, in West Africa. So we definitely are going to lead the charge because we are at the forefront, and we feel that after all these years of operation, we really need to move beyond just looking at the numbers and running the business to how we can actually impact the industry and lead change into the future. We also need to champion investment in venues. We are currently making investments in temporary structures like the tents and the domes. And we are also lobbying governments for land in the right place to put together investors to put up multi-purpose convention centers and event centers. And so we are looking for investors. And I'm sure, you know, we've had a lot of investment in West Africa in things like retail centers and malls and shopping centers. But we think that events venues are also a huge opportunity. So if there are any investors here and any people interested in coming to West Africa, this is a huge area to look at for investment. We did a conference last week. We had about 1,200 participants from across Africa. And our biggest challenge was venues. Where do we host 1,200 conference participants for 3 days? In Ghana, it was a huge challenge. So we had to we had to do a tent to cater for lunch for them. We had to do lunch, dinners, lunch, galas for 3 days continuously. And we had to be recycling the venues and letting them eat in parts, first 500, second 500. I mean, it was crazy. And this just shows, I mean, how bad it is with venues in Ghana. We also need to form an association. I don't know if you have an association here. Do you have or you have different associations? Yeah, but in Ghana, we really don't have any associations. Everybody's just doing their own thing. So again, the onus has fallen on us to really lead the way in setting up an association to clearly chart the future. We need to see clearly where we want to go, setting standards of operation, lobbying government as an industry. I heard the same thing being said here as well. We want to negotiate better with corporates, because what's happening with the corporates now is that because they are the main financiers of the industry, they really knock us against each other, you know, and keep dropping our rates, and therefore really making it difficult for us to grow as an industry. So we believe that if we come together as an industry, we could find a way to standardize our rates so that companies will not take advantage of us. And also, we need to encourage collaboration to scale up and invest in innovative technologies. I've mentioned that earlier. Too many small players who are not doing much. So we need to come together and scale up and bring in new innovation and technology. I went to now there are new technologies like video mapping, 3D projections, etc. And these are things that we really want to be able to do back home in Ghana. And I think if we collaborate more as an industry, we will be able to bring in those technologies to Ghana. And of course, hold industry events like this. I mean, you guys are doing a really, really fantastic job. I mean, we never had a gathering of events organizers and technical producers. Nothing like that has ever happened in Ghana. I don't think it's happened in Nigeria or anywhere in West Africa. So we need to lead the charge in that space, and we are learning a lot from you. And we also aim to create an events industry resource center and replicate it across Africa. A one-stop shop where anything to do with events will be handled by that center. And we think with that we can lead the charge in changing the face of the industry. Our big vision is to have a well-trained workforce, technically up-to-date and scaling up with innovation, a well-motivated and viable industry, and we look forward to hosting Africa at one of these conferences one of these days. In conclusion, we are inviting South African companies to come and collaborate with us to access the West African market. There's a huge market up there waiting for your expertise and your input. Come in and collaborate. We're encouraging South African government's efforts. I know they are doing a lot. The Departments of Art, Creative Arts and Culture are doing a lot. I know that there's still more to be done. I mean, there's no way the industry will grow without the governmental support. And we have come so far without that, but you have gone so much, much further with that support, and would encourage that you continue to push for more, because there is so much more they can do. And based on all the things I've mentioned about the things that we're going to do, I promise you that in the next couple of years, when you see us here again, we will come and give you a report on where we've gotten to.